I died, choking on my own blood. The metallic tang flooding my mouth as the semi-truck's grill smashed through my windshield like God's own judgment. My sister's voice echoed in my ears from the passenger seat, her panic scream twisting into something colder. Just drive faster. Aurora, it's not like they care about you anyway. And then, nothing, until I gasped awake in my old twin bed, the faded floral comforter from high school tangled around my legs. My heart pounding like it remembered the crash even if my body didn't. That was the moment I knew I'd been given a second chance. Not some fluffy redemption arc, but a raw, ugly redo of the last 6 months of my life. The clock on my nightstand blinked, 2:17 a.m. October 15th, exactly 182 days before the wreck that ended me at 28. I bolted upright, sweat soaking my tank top, and fumbled for my phone. No missed calls from Mom and Dad. No frantic texts from my sister Lila about family emergencies. Just the sterile glow of my lock screen, mocking me with its normalcy. I'd been the good daughter, the reliable one. Grew up in that cookie-cutter suburb of Raleigh, North Carolina, where every driveway had a minivan and every backyard a half-assed grill setup. Dad sold insurance. Mom did part-time bookkeeping for the church. Lila and I, polar opposites from the jump. She was the golden child, cheer captain, sorority queen, the one who could bat her lashes and get whatever she wanted. Me? Aurora Hale. The quiet grind, community college for nursing, night shifts at WakeMed, scraping by on ramen and resolve. But I had a dream. That house. The one on Elmwood Drive. The fixer-upper with the wraparound porch and the creaky oak floors that whispered stories of better days. It was my escape. My proof I could build something without handouts. In my first life, the one that got cut short, I'd saved every penny for 2 years. Closed on it in secret last spring, right before the family blew up. Thought it'd be my big reveal at Thanksgiving. Surprise. Folks, your awkward ducklings got roots. But Lila found out first. Snuck into my emails while I was pulling a double shift. Called Mom in hysterics, spinning it like I'd stolen her future. And Dad? He dropped the bomb. Aurora. Honey, we were gonna give that place to Lila. She's starting a family with Jake. You get it, right? Blood's thicker. Blood's thicker. Yeah. Until it spills. Turns out, they'd promised it years ago, back when Grandpa Hale passed and left the down payment money in a trust. A secret they'd buried under small talk and casseroles. Lila's wedding was coming up. Jake's construction gig was shaky. And suddenly my victory lap was their family crisis. I fought it, lawyer letters, tearful pleas, but they lawyered up too, claiming emotional duress or some bullshit. Lila escalated, anonymous posts on neighborhood Facebook groups, painting me as the selfish sister hoarding inheritance. The stress piled on. I started missing shifts, popping pills to sleep. Then, the accident. Lila borrowed my car that night, just for a quick errand. Rory, promise, and begged me to drive her to pick up Jake from the airport. The semi came out of nowhere on I-40, but I remembered her hand on the wheel, that sly twist of the steering just before impact. Sabotage? Or bad luck? In death's cold replay, it didn't matter. She'd won. Now, back in my body, flesh taut, lungs full, I felt the rage coil like a spring. This time, I'd play their game. Dirtier. Smarter. No more nice Aurora. I'd buy that house again. Lock it down tighter than Fort Knox. But first, I needed intel. I slipped out of bed, bare feet padding across the linoleum to my desk. Fired up my laptop. The fan whirring like an old friend's gossip. Pulled up Zillow. Cross-referenced with county records. The Elmwood house was still listed, $285,000. Motivated seller. In my old timeline, I'd scraped together the down payment from overtime and a side hustle selling vintage clothes on Etsy. This round, I'd accelerate. No loans. No traces. Cash. If I could swing it. By dawn, I'd emailed my boss at the hospital. Family emergency, need a week off. Bullshit. But it bought time. I drove to the bank in Dad's old Ford Taurus, keys still under the mat. Like he trusted the world too damn much. Withdrew my savings, $12,347. Not enough, but a start. Then, the real hunt. Pawn shops for Mom's jewelry she'd lost years ago. Flipping it online. Grandpa's coin collection. Stashed in the attic crawlspace. I'd always left it alone out of respect. Now, it was fuel. By noon, I'd listed 3 rarities on eBay. Morgan silver dollars. A 1913 Liberty Head nickel knockoff that still fetched $800. Bids rolled in fast. Americans love a steal. That night, over meatloaf and mashed potatoes, the weekly Hale family ritual, I tested the waters. Mom passed the peas with her usual smile, the one that hid mortgage worries. Dad droned about clients dodging premiums. Lila, home from her marketing job in Charlotte, scrolled her phone, manicured nails tapping. So, Rory, she said, not looking up. Still slaving away at that soul-sucking hour? When you gonna get a real life? I forked a bite, chewed slow. In the old days, I'd laugh it off, deflect. Not now. Real life's what you make it, sis. Speaking of, heard anything about Grandpa's old place on Elmwood? Saw it's back on the market. The table froze. Mom's fork clattered. Dad cleared his throat, that telltale vein pulsing in his neck. Lila's eyes snapped to mine, sharp as switchblades. Why do you ask? She drawled. All southern honey, laced with venom. Just curious. Always liked that porch swing. I held her gaze. Let the silence stretch. This was the first jab reminding them I knew the house existed, that it lingered in family lore like a ghost. Dad jumped in, voice oily. Oh, it's nothing, honey. Structural issues. Not worth the hassle. Lie. The inspection in my first life had been clean as a whistle. Lila smirked, recovering. Yeah, Rory. Stick to your apartment. That place is a money pit. Besides, Jake and I are thinking lake house anyway. Something with a dock. You know? Classy. Classy. Like borrowing your sister's car to stage a crash? I smiled back. Teeth gritted. Sounds dreamy. To each her own. The rest of dinner blurred, small talk about church bake sales. Jake's fantasy football league. But under the table, my foot tapped a rhythm. Plan. Execute. Destroy. Sleep came fitful that night. Dreams replaying the crash in slow-mo. Twisted metal. Lila's feigned tears at the funeral. Her toasting to Rory. The best little sis with champagne that tasted like victory. Week 2. I went nuclear on the hustle. I quit the hospital gig, emailed HR about relocation, and dove into gig economy hell. DoorDash by day. Uber Eats after dark. Hauling strangers' regrets across the triangle. Tips poured in from tech bros in Cary. Soccer moms in Cary too. $500 a week.
Easy.
Meanwhile, eBay sales hit $2,200. I hit up old nursing buddies for freelance consults, chart reviews, medrecs, $75 an hour under the table. By month's end, down payment in hand, $28,500. Wired it to my realtor, a no-nonsense black woman named Trish who'd been my rock in the first timeline. Cash offer. Trish whistled over coffee at Starbucks. Girl, you're playing grown-up now. Seller's eating it up, no contingencies. Good.
Close fast.
And Trish, eyes only on this. Family drama. She arched a brow, stirring her latte. The messy kind? The nuclear kind. We signed papers November 10th. Notary stamp like a guillotine blade. The house was mine, deed in Aurora Hale's name. No liens, no whispers. I changed the locks that afternoon. Hired a locksmith, cash on the barrel. Stashed boxes in the garage, my thrift store finds. Nursing textbooks. A bottle of bourbon for toasts to the dead me. But victory's a tease. That weekend, Lila showed up unannounced. Jake in tow, 6-foot-something of bro energy. Flannel shirt straining over beer gut. Heard you bought a place, she said, breezing past me into the kitchen like she owned it.
How?
I'd been airtight. Word travels, I said, blocking the hall. Jake hovered. Awkward. Clutching a six-pack like a peace offering. Mom and Dad trailed in, faces pinched. Dad clutched a manila envelope. Aurora, we need to talk. Here it came. The promise. The betrayal reloaded. Dad slapped the envelope on the granite counter. Fake marble. But it gleamed under the recessed lights like it knew the drama it was about to host. This is the trust agreement.
Aurora.
From your grandfather. He earmarked that house for Lila. Family legacy and all. I snatched it. Pages crisp as fresh lies. Flipped through. Legalese thicket. Grandpa's shaky signature from 18. Right after his Parkinson's diagnosis. But buried in Clause 7, the primary beneficiary, Lila Hale. Upon marriage. No mention of me. Not a dime. I'd always thought the trust was split even. Fairy tale sibling equity.
Wrong. Grandpa,
in his fogged final days, had whispered to Dad about protecting the girl who needs it most. Lila, fresh off a breakup, teary-eyed at his bedside.
Me?
Working doubles.
Too strong to beg.
You hid this, I said, voice flat. Not a question. In the first life, this reveal had gutted me, hours sobbing on the porch swing, vowing to fight fair. Now, it was ammo. Mom wrung her hands, pearls clicking like rosary beads. We didn't want to hurt you.
Honey.
Lila's. Delicate. And with the baby. Baby. Jake beamed. Hand on her barely there bump. For months along. They'd announced last timeline at Christmas.
A boy.
They said. Heir to the Hale delusion. Lila rubbed her belly. Eyes gleaming. Yeah.
Rory.
Your nephew. This place? Perfect nursery. High ceilings. Yard for playing catch. I laughed, a sharp bark that echoed off the empty walls. Nursery? This ain't a flip house.
Sis.
It's mine. Paid in full. Get a lawyer if you want it. Dad's face reddened. That insurance salesman bluster cracking. Aurora Elaine Hale. You will not speak to your sister that way. Blood. Blood's what got me killed last time. I muttered.
Too low for them to catch.
Aloud. Save the lecture. Dad. I know the play. You promised her the moon. And now you're mad I grabbed a star. The room crackled. Jake shifted, cracking a beer. Whoa. Ladies. Let's not. Stay out of it. Jake, Lila snapped, then softened for the fam. Classic manipulator. Ice to outsiders. Syrup inside. Rory.
Come on.
Share? Like old times? We could co-sign or something.
Cosign.
As if. In the crash's aftermath, she'd sold my story to a local blogger. Tragic loss. Sister's secret betrayal. Monetizing my grave for clicks. Views hit 50K. Her grief coaching side hustle launched from there. No, I said.
Simple as that.
Doors that way. They didn't leave easy. Mom cried. Dad blustered about disownment. Lila whispered threats. You'll regret this.
Rory.
Family first. Remember? Jake just drank. Eyes darting like he sensed the storm. By midnight, they stormed out, taillights fading down Elmwood like retreating Confederates. Alone, I poured that bourbon.
Neat.
Toasted the mirror. Round 2. Bitch. But sleep evaded. What if this timeline forked wrong? What if exposing them early backfired? No, the old me folded.
New me?
I'd unearth their skeletons. Parade M in broad daylight. Monday. I went digging. Started with county clerk's office, microfiche hell. But free. Grandpa's will. Clean on surface. But footnotes hinted at codicils. Dad's name popped in probate records, co-trustee. With discretionary distributions to Lila pre-marriage. $15,000 last year for her down payment fund. My tuition? Denied. Because she's independent. Independent my ass. I'd covered Mom's gallbladder surgery with loans. Silent as a ghost. Next. Lila's digital trail. Created a burner account on Facebook. Friend her friends. Posts from 23. Spa weekends in Asheville. Funded by family support. Comments from Jake's crew. Living the dream. Girl. Dig deeper. LinkedIn showed her marketing firm gig as consultant, but Glassdoor whispers said nepotism hire. Courtesy of Dad's golf buddy. Then. The gem, a deleted Reddit thread. Archived via Wayback. r/relationships. A non-post from her handle. AATA for wanting my sister's inheritance? She's single. I'm pregnant. Fair's fair? Upvotes. 2K. Comments roasted her. But the mods banned it for brigading. She'd vented publicly. Then scrubbed. Proof of venom. By week 3, I had a war chest. Doc scanned. Timelines mapped. Hired a PI on the cheap. Ex-cop named Ramirez. Cash meets in Waffle House parking lots. What are we chasing? Kid? He growled over hash browns. Family fraud. Trust tampering. And if my sisters got dirt, hit pay dirt. He nodded. No judgment. Americana special. $500 retainer. Done. Ramirez delivered fast. Dad's side hustle, funneling insurance kickbacks through a shell LLC, Lila's consulting front. $40,000 skimmed over 2 years. IRS blind. Mom, pills from the church doc. Vicodin scripted like candy. For nerves, but bottles piled in her bathroom vanity. And Lila, oh, Lila. Prenup with Jake? None. But text to her ex. Post-engagement. Ditch the loser phase. This one's loaded. Daddy's promise seals it. Loaded. On my dime. Grandpa's trust. Diluted for her whims. I stewed in the house. Painting walls eggshell neutral. Like my rage. Outsiders saw progress. Neighbors waved. Complimented the curb appeal. Inside, blueprints for revenge. First strike, anonymous tip to Dad's boss. Ethical review requested, client premiums diverted. Watched from afar as the audit hit, his golf game canceled. Face gaunt at the next family Zoom. Lila called. Voice syrup sour. What the hell? Bori? Dad's freaking out. You tell someone?
Me? Nah.
Karma's a bitch.
Though. Click.
She escalated. Slashed tires on my Civic. Keyed thief into the garage door. Cops came. Petty vandalism. No prints. I filed reports. Built the paper trail. Jake texted apologies. She stressed. Prego hormones.
Bull.
I screenshotted. Added to the file. Christmas loomed. That forced cheer like a noose. They insisted. Family dinner.
Aurora.
No excuses. I showed. Gift-wrapped bomb in tow, a framed deed copy. Ribboned with Merry Theft moss. The tree twinkled in the living room. Stockings hung crooked. Turkey carved. Wine poured. Then, the gift exchange. Lila unwrapped a spa voucher, ironic. Mine? The frame. Mom gasped. Dad choked on pie. Lila's face? Priceless, red as the bows. You spiteful, she hissed. Truthful, I countered. Read the fine print.
Sis.
Grandpa wanted legacy, not leeches. Jake tried peacemaking. Babe, maybe we talk. Shut up, she whirled on him. This is her fault. Always the victim.
Victim.
The word ignited. I stood. Voice steel. Victim? Last time you played passenger in my car. Remember? That errand to the airport? Steering wheel felt loose after. Her eyes widened, fraction of a second. But Ramirez had taught me tells. Guilt flicker. What are you, crazy? Maybe. Or maybe I know more than you think. The table erupted. Accusations flying. Mom sobbing into her napkin. Dad bellowed about ruining Christmas. I left them to it. Drove home through tinsel-lit streets. Radio crooning Silent Night like a joke. But the hook sank deeper. New Year's. Ramirez dropped the nuke. DNA test from a clinic mix-up. Grandpa's blood work. Cross-referenced. Lila? 99.8% match.
Me?
52%. Half-sister. Mom's affair. 97. Dad's old partner from the firm. The robust one. As she slurred after wine. They'd buried it. Raised us equal on paper. But Grandpa knew, hence the truscue. Protecting his own. Twist of the knife. My death? Not accident. Break line cut. Per Talks report Ramirez pulled. Lila's prints on the tool from Jake shed. She'd confessed to him. Texts proved. Rory's out. House is ours. For the baby. For the baby. My nephew. Innocent in the crossfire. Rage boiled to plan. No cops yet, too clean. Her tears would sway juries. Public ruin. First, leak the affair, Mom's old love letters.
Digitized.
To the church gossip chain. Then, the fraud, IRS hotline. Anonymous. Dad's LLC dissolved overnight. Lila's countermove, desperate. Showed up at my door. rain-soaked.
Begging.
Rory.
Please.
The baby's kicking. We need this. I let her in. Played host. Tea steaming on the coffee table. What do you want? Lila. Forgive me.
Koan.
Anything. Truth first. The brakes. She crumbled. Sobs real this time.
Jake.
He said it'd look like an accident. For us. The family. You were. In the way. In the way. My blood chilled. But Mercy?
Nah.
Get out. And tell Mom hi from her dirty secret. She fled, wailing. I locked the door, heart thundering. Payback's eve. Spring thawed the ground, but not the war. By March, the leaks hit critical mass. Church bulletin, anonymous insert, a mother's hidden past, adultery and inheritance lies. Mom's bridge club imploded. Whispers followed her to the Piggly Wiggly. Dad's firm? Probationary leave. Badge surrendered. He called once. Voice broken. How could you? Aurora? We're family. Family? I echoed. Cradling the phone in my sunlit kitchen, porch swing visible through French doors. Like when you cut my tuition for Lila's prom dress. Or buried Mom's fling to keep the facade. Silence. Then click. No apology. Just ghosts. Lila went dark. Radio silence.
Social skrubat.
Jake posted solo. Gym selfies. Blessed dad-to-be captions. But Ramirez tailed him. Bar tabs spiking. Texts to buddies about crazy in-laws. The baby's due date loomed, June 5th. Per OBGYN hacks. I'd send blue booties. And signed. A taunt wrapped in fleece. My life, meanwhile, bloomed in the ruins. Rehired at the hospital, day shifts. No grudges. Neighbors invited me to block parties. The house's glow drew, and like moths. I hosted a barbecue, craft beers, ribs smoked low and slow. No hails allowed. Laughter filled the yard. A balm on old wounds. Trish dropped by. Clinked bottles. Revenge looks good on you, girl. But tension coiled. Lila's silence screamed plot. April Fools. A letter arrived, certified, lawyer stamped. Suit for undue influence on the trust. Claim, I'd coerced Grandpa in his decline, poisoning his wishes. Evidence? Forged notes. Her handwriting mimicking his scrawl. Ballsy. I countersued. Fraud. Emotional distress. The works. Depositions scheduled. Public record. Juicy for the News and Observer. The hearing hit mid-May. Courthouse in downtown Raleigh humming with humidity and hacks. I walked in solo. Sundress crisp. Hair in a no-bullshit ponytail. They arrived en masse. Mom veiled like a widow. Dad suited stiff. Lila waddling. Jake's arm a prop. Her eyes met mine, hatred pure. No tears this round. Judge Harlan, a grizzled vet with a drawl thick as grits, called order. Their lawyer, slick Charlotte import, spun the yarn. MS. Hale manipulated a dying man for spite. The house, blood money. My attorney, budget higher. But fierce, fired back. DNA exhibits. Trust diversions. Brake line forensics. Gasps rippled. Mom whimpered. Dad's jaw unhinged. Then, my turn.
Stand.
Swear.
Spill.
Your Honor. They promised that house to Lila because she's Grandpa's granddaughter.
Me?
I'm the cuckoo. Mom slept around. Dad played along. I died for it, breaks cut. Crash staged. Second chance? I'm taking what's mine. Murmurs erupted. Lila lunged. Liar. But bailiff restrained. Judge banged gavel. Order. Emis. Hail. Specifics. I laid it bare. Timelines.
Text.
The crash's phantom steering. I woke up knowing. And I chose truth over their tomb. Adjournment. Verdict pending. But the street buzz? Viral. Local podcasters dissected. Hail house horror, incest, inheritance, and 40 intrigue. X threads exploded, Sister Slayer trending in the triangle. Lila's old Reddit post resurfaced, trolls doxed her spa pics. They cracked post-hearing. Jake bailed, divorce papers filed, citing irreconcilable deceit. He kept the boat. She got the bump. Mom overdosed, not fatal, but a weak psych hold. Dad, heart scare. Stents in. Irony, my nursing shift. Stabilizing him in the ER. Why, he wheezed. Monitors beeping. Not forgiveness, I said. Adjusting for. Just irony. Lila, alone in a rental, belly swelling. She cornered me outside the hospital, desperate. Mascara streaked. Rory. The baby's coming early. No one's. I need you.
Need.
The word that broke the old me.
Now?
It armored. You needed me gone. Live with it. But as she clutched my arm, ultrasound pic fluttering to the pavement, tiny heartbeat blip, I faltered.
The kid.
Innocent. My blood. Half-twisted. Twist hit like brakes failing. Ramirez's final drop. Paternity test. Jake's not the dad. X from the Reddit days. The loser phase. Lila's ploy. Trap a hail. Any hail. For the house hall. Grandpa's legacy?
Her meal ticket from Jump.
I drove her to the ER that night, contractions, preterm scare. Held her hand through the epidural, cursing under breath. Baby boy, Elias Hale, 5 pounds even. Blue eyes like mine, not hers. She named him in the haze, after Grandpa. Discharge day. I brought the car seat, installed proper. No sabotage. This changes nothing, I told her, buckling him in. But him, everything. She nodded. Broken. I hated you. For being better. Stronger. Wasn't hate, I said.
Fear.
Yours. The drive home to Elmwood was quiet. Rain pattering like reluctant applause. Mom and Dad waited on the porch, subdued. No hugs, but a nod. Dad handed keys, not to the house, but a storage unit. Your half. Trusts dissolved. Fair split.
Fair.
Close enough. Months blurred, co-parenting awkward as hell. Lila rented nearby, court-mandated proximity. I babysat Elias, his gurgles eroding walls. Family therapy? Mandatory. Messy. Confession spilled. Mom's guilt. Dad's complicity. Lila's voids from the affair shadow. No absolution. But understanding, a scar. Not a wound. By fall. The house thrived, garden blooming, swing creaking under Elias's weight as he babbled. Lila visited Sundays, tentative, rebuilding. Jake, faded. Alimony ghost. I dated, a barista with tattoos and trust issues. Slow,
Real.
One night, bourbon in hand, Elias asleep upstairs. I sat on the porch. Stars sharp over Raleigh sprawl. Second chance? Not revenge's end, but life's reboot. They'd lost the war, but I gained the peace, twisted, tarnished, mine. No tidy bow. Americans don't do bows. We do comebacks, grudging and glorious.
And that?
Felt like winning.